Welcome to the bold analysis. It is very shameful and shocking for a country like Kenya that 12 days after my friend Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo were abducted while heading to meet Bobi Wine, opposition leader in Uganda, Kenya is very quiet. And Bobi Wine, who is challenging a perennial imposter, Museveni, in the 2026 general election, the sluggish silence of Nairobi diplomats castigates really paints a different picture. And statement from one of the witnesses, who was the driver of the two, who is still in hiding, really reveals the real thing. And in this podcast, I will tell the African presidents that the young voices are rising. And really, if you don't work for the people, it doesn't matter what. The military and the youth are coming as a unit to challenge the status quo. But before I get into that, I want to say kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. And thank you very much for supporting this podcast. Subscribe. We are improving on the ratio, on the percentage that, we want to make sure that at least 60% of those who watch subscribe. So can you check? I just realized that only 50% of our viewers have subscribed. So kindly confirm your subscription now. I am still reminding you to partner with us and make a sacrifice worth for Mzee Peter Osero. Mzee Peter Osero here is a 75-year-old. He called me on Wednesday telling me that he had blood discharge in the urine, kwamba alikuwa anakunywa damu. And really, being that he was a subscriber and had really reached out, I made it the effort so that apelekwe Kisii Hospital. He was taken to Kisii, where several tests were done, and I made sure that we cover the SHA at that point. Understood that that could help. But after the tests were done, they established that he had his left kidney ilikuwa imeoza. Now, that also brought a blockage in the urinary tract. So this is a condition that really, for people who understand, it's also associated with his age. Remember, his age is advanced. So I decided to make sure, at least to affirm that, and made plans, and he was brought here in Nairobi this Saturday. Akapelekwa hospitali. Some more tests were done, and the doctors arrived at a decision that there is a procedure that is supposed to be done to help rescue Mzee from that situation.
Kevin, asante sana. Mungu atasaidia mimi pamoja na nyinyi. Bwana, mimi najua kwamba nitapona. Ulifanya kazi kubeba mimi mpaka hospitalini. Mungu asaidie wewe na pamoja na mimi pamoja na huyu ndugu yako.
We can get him out of that, guys. And that's why I'm humbly requesting you to support us. Hapa watu tunasema kidogo kidogo hujaza kibaba. Thank you very much. SHA is going to pay part of it. He's due for a surgery that is supposed to be done. And it should be done as soon as possible according to what the doctors are saying. So we're thinking that by tomorrow we can be able to book afanyiwe biopsy kesho, so that the surgery can be organized, can be slotted for Wednesday or Tuesday afternoon. But we need a deficit. We have a deficit because SHA is going to cover part of that surgery. But if we have a deficit of around 200,000, approximately around 200,000, that will help afanyiwe so that Mzee can get back to his feet. And I'm humbly requesting you that partner with us that you can save the life of Mzee Peter, who is also a pastor. And we believe that as we do this, he's going to get well. This photo here is a photo on the other side. Yours truly. The lady in the middle, I've shared the photo with her permission though. And the one doing this is Bob Njagi. So he's amongst the two who was arrested in Uganda. This photo was taken way back in 2019 when I was working at the United Nations, and we attended a seminar in Tanzania, Arusha. So we're working with some Action Aid sponsored program. That's where you can see it, Action Aid. So that photo was taken in Uganda, in Tanzania. That was the first time I saw Bob Njagi. He was an activist who was based in Kisumu Social Justice Center, if you remember, around that area. So since then, of course, was a very firm supporter of this podcast, and through that we came to know each other. Bob, with his colleague Nicholas, have been missing for the last 12 days. Despite of East African community having some free movement policy, it is very sad, just the way Besigye was arrested in the Kenyan soil. The two activists were arrested in Ugandan soil, and the two governments are playing picky-ponky about it. It paints a grim picture on really the East African mobility.
Quite frankly, it's tongue-in-cheek. We had government saying, we've asked the Ugandan government to tell us where they are. Really? Really? I mean, this is the same administration that did something unthinkable, handing over the leader of official opposition in Uganda. I describe him as such because he's a very senior, senior opposition figure. I don't know where the nerves came from in this country that you could actually do that without thinking of the implications, without also thinking of who we are. I mean, Kenya is supposed to be the beacon of democracy in the region. We sometimes, actually many times, think we are ahead of other countries in the region. But we can't be ahead if we can do something as primitive as handing over a leader of opposition of the level of Kizza Besigye to Ugandan authorities. They came here to Riverside Drive. And Ugandan police actually conducted a security operation on Kenyan soil.
But that's maybe demanding too much. 12 days, I've seen people doing this analysis. And by the way, one of the reasons why I is because I told you guys, I knew Bob in person. So, because if you have a personal relationship, someone you know, so it's not very easy just to rush and say this and that. Babu Wino is the only opposition leader, is only leader from Kenya who at least made a statement. Everyone is quiet. Not even the ODM battalion. And sorry to say, but let me bring it to this point. These two fellows, Bob Njagi, Nicholas Oyo, were very strong activists in Kenya. So you can see how this is. Bambu asked at Dalmas Otieno's burial, asked Musalia to do something. But now, Kithure Kindiki, do you know even Kindiki silently jetted in Uganda to attend some Independence Day there, but didn't utter any word in relation to this. But today, KTN News picked up the story, and for the first time, someone who was with the two last moments and is still speaking while in hiding is making this report.
A first-hand testimony by Kofi Atandi, a survivor who was with them during the abduction, says Njagi and Oyo were abducted on their way to meet Bobi Wine. Atandi says they left for Uganda on September 29th and crossed the border into Uganda without any incident, passing through migration smoothly. They spent 2 days in Jinja before receiving an invitation to attend a private meeting with Ugandan opposition leader Bobi Wine. However, just before the scheduled meeting, Njagi and Oyo were abducted. The group had finished lunch and was preparing to leave for the meeting when a van arrived. Inside were several individuals, some armed and dressed in uniform, others in civilian clothing, including one woman. All three were initially taken into the van, but once inside, Atandi was instructed to step out and lock the door of their vehicle. He was told not to re-enter the van and was assured that the others would return. The van then departed, leaving him behind, disoriented and unsure of where to go or whom to report to. Atandi has since returned to the country, but still remains in hiding for fear of his safety. Meanwhile, back home at a local church in Ruiru, Kiambu County, the family of Nicholas Oyo has organized a church service to pray for the safety of their kin Oyo.
I am appealing to the government of the Republic of Kenya to intervene on our behalf to make sure that Nicholas comes back home. I am appealing to the government of the Republic of Uganda to release these two.
We will not relent until we get justice. We will not relent until these comrades are released.
Giving this account, you can look at the ordeal. The families of these two activists have been shedding tears. They even held some requiem mass and have been knocking government doors, begging answers from the administration. But no avail. From the last moments, it's a very scary, and you can really feel. People from Uganda can tell us. In this country, the issue of abductions had been a big problem it's been here for quite some time. How has it been in your country? From the narration that you've just heard, from that revelation from that gentleman who was with Bob Njagi and his friend, would you make of it like it is the Ugandan way of abduction or it is just the Kenyan way that is important? And sadly enough, no one took a video of that. I'm telling you, if that was Kenya, it won't go unnoticed. It won't go unnoticed. Uko, no one took a video. Here we are in a social media space where you make a small mistake, huku, people are with you. But when I saw Kasipul has been in Uganda and has been masquerading across the three countries, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, as, I don't know, some unity ambassador or so, condemning these two. And I realized, when I listened to Kasipul, I realized this is what the states thinks.
Let them be arrested and taken to court and let them be jailed there. We have to stop this nonsense once and for all. East Africa is one region. And if you want to train people to disobey their leaders, to disobey their country, to create havoc and chaos, you are supposed to be treated as a criminal. You are supposed to be treated as a rebel.
Shehe, you've been saying that Mzee Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is the best person to unite East Africa. But of course, earlier today, we witnessed a section of Kenyans being abducted in broad daylight in the city of Kampala. What do you have to say about that incident?
This notion of people that carry themselves and call themselves activists, they don't have something, to do. They have lacked, let me just use for a better word, yeah? These are jobless people. that go around and look for problems and look for troubles and incite the public, train the public to go against the government. They are supposed to be considered as rebels. When you go train young men to go and overthrow the government, you are not an activist. You are supposed to be considered as a terrorist, as a rebel. Stop calling yourself an activist. Activists are conducted in a right manner, whereby you put things in a manner whereby people listen to you and they can discuss what you've just, put on the table. But when you carry yourself as an activist, you go start calling people, training young people to go against their government. You are supposed to be considered as a terrorist, or you're supposed to be considered as a rebel. Uganda is a very peaceful country. You see young men in Uganda, the way they carry themselves, the way they love their leader, the way they love their government, you cannot compare with the way young people, a small section of young people that are jobless, that are conducting themselves in a very useless manner and try to call themselves activists. These are the people that created problem in this country. This country was burning 4 years ago. The same character are the same that are in Uganda right now. Others went to Tanzania, and they even tried to do such thing in Tanzania. But because the government of Tanzania want peace for the people of Tanzania, they were deported back to this country. These are to stop. If your failed attempt, what happened the other day in our country was an attempt coup. It wasn't maandamano. You have failed in your country, you go to a neighboring country, try to distract peace in the neighboring country. Stop calling yourself Kenyan. Deal with your issues there as an individual who is a criminal.
Whenever a Kenyan is arrested, we've seen this, even Mwai was arrested in Tanzania, we always have this attitude like, watu wa Kenya ni wabaya, wameleta ujinga yao huko, wameleta ukorofi yao huko. So no one will be protected. Your rights can be violated there, but then no one will defend you because they will say that, you just took your nonsense there. Just took your activism there. So that will be the basis of dismissing you. But in real sense, I ask, is Kenya very low? Is Kenya very weak in bargaining for its stand? While they're doing that, when some Somalia guys stepped on Kenyan flag, the country raised voices across, and there was a unity of the moment that, guy, look here, you need to make sure you protect our flag. You must respect us. And we really made noise until those two Somali boys were even arrested. But here, one of us is finding 2 of us have been arrested in another country, and we are all quiet. I'm yet to see a statement from the authorities. And what is even more worrying is dictatorship is creeping in at a very high rate. What is happening is that deal between Museveni, Ruto, and Suluhu? Remember, the 3 are facing their voters. 29th October, it is Tanzania's turn. Suluhu is facing the voters. Next year, I don't know the month, Museveni. Then 2027, it is William Ruto. Do they have some unholy alliance to stifle critics? That is why you can be arrested in Tanzania and the Kenyan government will not protect you. You can be arrested in Uganda, and I'm saying this because this has been happening. What exactly do you guys think is going on? Look at how the state, and I just want to describe to you how dictatorship is creeping in. Do you know Tundu Lissu, who was a strong opponent of Suluhu, was arrested since April. And when Martha Karua tried getting there to defend Tundu Lissu, she was also arrested and deported back. There is this presidential candidate, Luhaga Mpina, was also blocked from presenting his papers to the Electoral Commission there. And the analyst from Uganda is saying that Suluhu is going to face some very fringe minor candidates. You know, so it's been stimulating some sort of all, government critics have been crushed in there. October 6th, just last week, Humphrey Polepole, who was the chairperson of Chama cha Mapinduzi, he was actually the spokesperson of Chama cha Mapinduzi, was abducted. There was all over crying. And I saw the mother speaking to BBC asking for the government to release the son. But all that voice was in vain. That was Humphrey Polepole. He's a very powerful figure within Chama cha Mapinduzi, which is the party that has been in power since 1961. So I looked at that and I realized we are not moving. But the one term is sweeping the continent at a very high rate. In Malawi, election was done, president served 1 term, was changed. In Seychelles, they just voted in the last Saturday, Ravel Ramkalawan in favor. They voted out Ravel and Ramkalawan. This is Ravel and Ramkalawan. This president has been voted out from Seychelles, and they have picked their former speaker Patrick Heminie as a president. Some interesting thing about Ravel, why I brought it, is Ravel is an Anglican reverend. And number 2, Ravel was also building the houses. This is affordable housing Ruto anajenga sahi. Ravel was also very huge on that. Even though, unlike Ruto here, who is collecting housing levy, Ravel built the houses but without housing levy. He served 1 term. When the voters decide it is your time to leave, nothing can stop them. Madagascar, the youths were protesting about corruption and governance issues within government. And then the state issued some shoot-to-kill order. The military emerged and joined protesters against the regime. I'm not saying now here, If it were in this country here in Kenya, Raila Odinga would have come out from some dugout with some messiah moment and very well choreographed speech. I have to save the country from military takeover. Huko, the military have joined protesters to call out the sitting regime. I see three possibilities in Bob Njagi's arrest or abduction, and I pray that wapatikane. Of course, this is not the first time they are being abducted. They were once also abducted sometime amidst the anti-government protest. There is a high possibility that the two were arrested by Kenyan authorities, but they were just trailed in Uganda so that it should deflate the public pressure from here, so that ionekane, like for example now, no one knows were they arrested by Kenyan authorities or by Ugandan authorities. I was talking to some very good person here, was telling me, Kevin, back then in the days, these things used to happen. Not that they didn't, nowadays we have phones, so someone will take a video, a photo, and it will trend. When one way it will trend, such like thing would happen. Washikwe and people who understood and said no one will never see them. It used to happen. It's only thing that now there is the digital age, so this conversation can be sustained online. Is there secret dictatorship deal? Is there secret unholy alliance between the three presidents in the region? And where does that put the issue of integration? Lastly, I see the leaders facing electorates afraid of the young voices, because these voices are undeterred, these voices are brave, and they are very decisive. And probably we'll want to see how this comes out. I wish my friend Bob Njagi reunites with the family in the right, so that haizi kupatikana. Nimeona mama akilia sana. Tujaribu sana bana, ili we should also be human. Thank you.